It appears the wealthy saboteurs are being carefully guarded while they systematically incapacitate the planet's life support systems.
The FBI has a globally operable Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate that recognizes the use of toxic industrial chemicals as improvised weapons of mass destruction that can be dispensed from industrial facilities or various transport systems. For this initiative, the FBI is teamed up with the Defense Intelligence Agency, Department of Energy, National Security Agency, Department of Homeland Security, Environmental Protection Agency, Central Intelligence Agency, and Department of Defense. This interagency that has a 24/7 international response capability is devoted to identifying and diffusing such attacks before they occur. However, this federal composite that protects energy sector facilities and acknowledges the use of ticks as CBRNE agents has not detected this pattern. I'll talk more about this shortly. The Department of Justice will usually not firmly discipline corporate polluters. Even when scandalous activity is obvious, they regularly let offenders off the hook with settlements. This is the case regardless of the type of disaster or the damage it caused. I've found that the DOJ is providing cover for this subversive league that is contaminating natural provisions with makeshift CBRNE munitions. The Department of Justice has protected corporate polluters since at least the early 1970s. The Environmental Protection Agency, a federal agency whose task is to protect human health and the environment, has been hiding pollution for decades. The EPA permits environmental destruction and routinely covers up incidents of contamination. Although employees of this agency have expressed genuine concern about the health of citizens and the environment, its leadership faction is significantly compromised, making the agency another example of a psychopathized group that is the antithesis of its avowed design. In August of 2015, the EPA made the transition from simply approving and hiding the orchestrated pollution of the environment to carrying out acts of environmental sabotage. An agency employee accidentally released several million gallons of heavy metal sludge into the Animas River, cutting off the food and water supplies for the Navajo Nation. The DOJ that is working with the EPA to provide cover for the wealthy mass murderers who are attacking us with improvised weapons of mass destruction did not prosecute the agency. Some of the groups that the FBI is closely aligned with have also mentioned the weaponization of ticks, including the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA within the DHS, the DoD that claims it will resolutely counter these non-traditional CBRNE threats, and the 20th CBRNE Command of the U.S. Army, a DoD organization that can be deployed worldwide to neutralize such dangers. The U.S. Army's 20th CBRNE Command is a highly trained unit composed of military and civilian staff whose job is to identify and negate all types of CBRNE threats that would include weaponized ticks. This unit, with a 24/7 international reach, is part of an interagency venture. Its operational and intelligence network includes the National Counterterrorism Center, U.S. Secret Service, U.S. Special Operations Command, U.S. Strategic Command, as well as the FBI, DIA, DHS, and DOE. I find it strange that these DOD and DHS factions that are trained to respond to these scenarios and have specifically referenced TIMS in their publications are still unaware of what's happening.
I'm certain that FERC and the Corps are issuing bogus permits, that some state regulators are allowing and covering up the attacks, and that the EPA and DOJ are actively safeguarding the criminals who are unleashing these improvised weapons of mass destruction. In addition, I find the following organizations to be questionable:
U.S. Army 20th CBRNE Command, Department of Homeland Security, Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, Department of Energy, National Transportation Safety Board, Transportation Security Administration, Federal Emergency Management Agency, U.S. Coast Guard, National Response Center, Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Defense, National Security Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency. At this time, we'll have a closer look at some of these groups. U.S. Army's 20th CBRNE Command that has referenced the use of TIMS as makeshift CBRNE agents and trains with the FBI and is partnered with other interagency groups to thwart these attacks internationally. The DHS, that acknowledges ticks can be weaponized, is part of the U.S. Army's 20th CBRNE intelligence cycle and FBI's Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate. The PHMSA, FEMSA, that oversees pipeline design, construction, operation, maintenance, and incident response. The DOE, that serves a vital role in orchestrating action concerning the protection of industrial infrastructure against attack, works with the DOD, DOI, EPA, DOT, FERC, energy sector representatives, and is part of the FBI's Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate. The NTSB investigates major catastrophes in the realm of pipelines, aviation, maritime, highways, and railways, then transfers investigations to the FBI when criminal activity is detected. The Pipeline Security Division of the TSA under the DHS is responsible for ensuring the safe transmission of hazardous materials through oil and gas pipelines and the TSA in general that exists to protect the nation's transportation systems. FEMA has acknowledged the use of ticks as weapons of mass destruction and coordinates federal response to pipeline spills and explosions. The U.S. Coast Guard leads interagency investigations involving maritime disasters and issues regulations to prevent hazardous material discharge from vessels and offshore facilities. In addition, the Coast Guard manages the 24/7 National Response Center. That's the federal contact point for all toxic industrial material release into the environment anywhere in the United States. The NRC collects all data pertaining to TIM discharge, including type and amount, that it forwards to on-site responders. The NRC maintains a national database of such incidents with information on specific vessels, facilities, and organizations involved. The CIA, DoD, NSA, and DIA that are part of this union that is aware of weaponized TIMs and regulates and protects industrial infrastructure and are part of the FBI's Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate. Some of these organizations work closely together to perform their duties, including regulation of interstate hazardous material transmission, permitting, infrastructure protection, containment of hazardous material, incident response planning, and incident investigation. This interagency, tasked with energy infrastructure, certification, maintenance, protection, and emergency response, is composed of experts on hazardous material safety. Its divisions conduct disaster investigation and maintain a detailed account of incidents. Within this composite, there are defense and intelligence agencies that have precisely mentioned the use of toxic industrial materials as makeshift weapons of mass destruction. These groups work closely together and have access to a multi-source intelligence cycle that provides them with current, actionable information. With a 24/7 watch and global response capability, this alliance is committed to detecting and stopping all types of CBRNE weapon of mass destruction threats. To me, the notion that they have not figured out what's happening by now is implausible. It appears these questionable groups are standing down while people are soft murdered with improvised CBRNE agents and food and water supplies are cut off, just like the Environmental Protection Agency and Department of Justice.